First of all, I would like to thank the CITCS for giving us the chance to attend such an event. I'm Iman Zambut, a PhD student in bioinformatics in my fourth year at the University of Constantine too. I'm gonna present today a work that uses stacked sparse autoencoders for unsupervised features learning in pan-cancer, mRNA cancer classification. Well, first of all, it is a matter of fact that computer science and is this okay? Actually, I'm short and okay. It is a matter of fact that nowadays computer science and artificial intelligence are around every aspect of life. So it is a matter of fact that it will touch health, biology, and pharmaceutical industry, where majorly influenced by technology and computer science advance, especially with the ending of the Human Genome Project and the tremendous advance in high-throughput technologies such as microarrays and next-generation sequencing. Those technologies start to generate data at large scale, which gave us a huge data generation and the birth of the term personalized medicine. We will see later on what is personalized medicine. Well, let's start going to cancer. Cancer and diagnosis between the past and today. Cancer is a dysfunction in the human body, where it represents an abnormal growth of a cell in its life cycle, where the cells start growing without an end. We know that the human cell have a certain number of days as age. So in cancer, when the cell didn't come to an end, that will give us cancer. So, well, because of cancer, it may be genetic alteration, mutations, or silencing of genes, and it would be affected by a genetic irritation or from the environmental impact. Well, the first diagnosis of cancer was in the 16th century, but those days we were like living in the era of one treatment fits all population. So with this advance in computer science and next generation sequencing technologies, we migrated from one-fits-all diagnosis and treatment to a personalized medicine based on genetic and genomic patients' reports. Like any human have an imprint, a finger imprint, each human have its particularity genes and genetic structure. So, let's start with our problematic formulation. What is those high-throughput technologies and what is their role in cancer diagnosis? Well, the high-throughput technologies work on measuring the omic level, like mRNA, DNA, protein expression, the metabolomic process of thousands of genes that correspond to different samples. We are here talking in samples, we're talking about patients, or experiments simultaneously through all the transcriptomic mechanism, like from the ADN to from the protein construction. So, those omic instances, a big portion of it is irrelevant in cancer classification and analysis and treatment. So, it may lead into wrong decisions. Here, if we talk on computer science aspect, it will be a dimensionalized reduction problem. We will see it later. Well, the amount of available data per cancer type are very small in comparison to the number of omic instances per patient. Well, if we take in a hospital, we will have about 400, we can say around the country we will have 400 breast cancer, lung cancer or breast cancer. So this is actually a small number. Compared to the omic instances per patient, we have more than 20,000 genes, or the experiments will lead us to 50,000 genes, or the RNA profile. So, also, the analysis of those omic instances can help in extracting each patient's body particularity and attack the disease in the appropriate way. So here we can extract from each patient what was the cause of cancer, what is the best treatment for this patient, or what is the best dose for this patient. Well, Also, the astounding advance in those technologies proved the role of the non-coding regions. Our DNA is about sequence of base pairs. In those base pairs we have genes, but also we have some parts that are called like non-coding regions, like they don't express into proteins. Okay, so in the past those mRNAs were considered as only as noisy particles. But with the advance in the high throughput technologies, mRNA rule has proved to be can be a direct biomarker in cancer. Well, from those points we have seen, what are the questions can we raise? Well, how can we draw significant results from mRNA data in cancer type diagnosis? Also, how far machine and deep learning can help in enhancing the medical decision? Also, is it possible to combine different cancer types to collect as much information as possible in order to build a powerful predictive and decision-making models? I just said that sometimes we don't have a lot of information about a particular type of cancer. Let's take, for example, lung cancer or eye cancer or thyroid cancer. Maybe we have a small number of patients. So the question here, how can we use the combination of different types of cancer, like breast, ovarian, lung cancer, thyroid cancer, cervical cancer, to collect as much information as possible to train an intelligent model that can predict make the diagnosis and predict the appropriate treatment. So let's go to our contribution. Well, in order to see our last point, we need to collect the appropriate data. Well, the appropriate data in our problem here is the TCGA pan cancer. The TCGA pan cancer is a microRNA data that have been generated using the next generation sequencing on around 33 types of cancer. Like here we have 33 types of cancer in the US hospitals. The initial mRNA data set consists of more than 10,000 patients. Like the combination of those cancers gave us a data set with an acceptable number of 10,000 patients and about 800 mRNA profile. So, in order to work with any data set, we need to go through a pre-processing phase. So here, in order to use our data set, we proceed as eliminating the mRNA instances with more than 20% of missing values. We use Dutch transformation to handle skewed data. Also, we apply data imputation to handle missing values, and we divided the final matrix in 70%, 30% from training and testing, respectively. The table here shows the data before and after our pre-processing. We have the number of patients. They moved from 10,824 to 10,783 for about 494 mRNA profile on 31 cancer type. Okay, now we are going to highlight our questions. What can we get from and how can we deal with this data set? We can use unsupervised feature learning since we have here 31 cancer type and we want to draw information about that can be generalized on all the cancer types. So we can use unsupervised feature learning by ignoring the cancer type to extract a new feature representation, to learn a new feature representation from this data. Also, based on those new features, we can build a classifier to predict accurately for each patient the corresponding cancer type among the 31 different types. So, in our contribution, we have used the sparse autoencoder. Well, an autoencoder, sparse autoencoder is an autoencoder, while we can see an autoencoder is an asymmetric multi-layer perceptron with a hidden bottleneck. We have the encoder part and the decoder part. The autoencoder here play as to take the input and feed it through the architecture and try to copy the output as much as close to its input, while in this bottleneck layer this button-like layer. It's called the latent space layer. Here we can extract a new feature, or we can learn new features. Okay. So a sparse autoencoder, it is an autoencoder with applying a sparsity on its encoder part. Applying the sparsity here will mute some of the high-low nodes. Here we will eliminate through our training. We will eliminate some low value nodes. So this will help us to extract a better latent space. As classifiers, we use the HBM, KNN, range and forest and decision trees. For comparison, to compare the feature learning proposal, we use PCA and CAP PCA. Okay, we will have an overview on our architecture. Our architecture is divided on two phases. The first phase is an unsupervised feature learning phase, and the second phase, it is a supervised classification. In the first phase, we stacked 3 autoencoders, where each autoencoder fed its output to the next autoencoder. After we train our model on the initial RNA profiles, we will extract from each autoencoder the new generated latent space and concatenate it to have a new data set to be used later on the supervised classification. Okay, look on the architecture. For the unsupervised learning phase, we use the 3 stacked sparse autoencoder in features learning. The set of learned features are then extracted from each autoencoder bottleneck. The final feature matrix is the combination or the concatenation of all the latent space of each sparse autoencoder. For the classification phase here, we have 2 goals in the classification phase. The first goal is to build a good classifier, and the second is to evaluate how good our new learning feature space can be used in training a supervised model. So here we initialize the classifiers and prepare our training testing data. We train each classifier on the training's data set, and after all, we need to evaluate the performance of each classifier to judge our approach. So in the unsupervised phase, we train the stacked autoencoder on the unlabeled data set, on the whole data set, use the trained autoencoder to learn feature using the bottleneck layer. We can concatenate the extracted features into one data set metric set. We have here the parameter used. By training each autoencoder, we can see from autoencoder to autoencoder that our model is converging to its the last value of training loss rate we can see that it converges to a value of 0.6 in the first, 0.3 in the second, about 0.2 in the third autoencoder. Here our autoencoder is doing successfully copying the input to the output as accurate as possible. The loss rate here is about the mean absolute error. Okay, for the supervised phase, here we trained about 9 models. We have models trained on this stacked sparse autoencoders, models trained on the PCA, the used PCA features, and others, the KPCA features. We use holdout classification to split our extracted features into training testing data sets. We train each classifier on the training and set. We evaluated the performance of the classifiers using accuracy and classification records. Moving to our comparison, we have the SVM, the results explain the SVM, the error restricted, the range of forest, the KNN and the decision trees. We can see here that the SVM model trained on the sparse stacked autoencoder features reach about 0.95 accuracy. Okay. Also, accuracy is not a measure that we can take. Here we try to put our classification performance. Since we have 31 class type, it will be a little bit hard to visualize all the precision, recall, and advanced score. So we try to go to the micro average and macro and weighted average. Here, this table shows the SVM classification performance. We can see that the SVM trained on the learned feature from our first our model was overcome and was able to surpass the PCA and KPCA. So, as conclusion, here we presented a feature line and unsupervised model based on different cancer types. The use of this methodology enhanced the result of multi-class cancer prediction. The non-coding DNA regions played a direct role in predicting the appropriate diagnosis, and the unsupervised learning helped in building knowledge about all the cancer types despite their complexity or lack of exploration. The taken benefit of autoencoders and their particularity in handling heterogeneous data can enhance those results by including data generated from different platforms. To mention one thing, there isn't so much works on this field. In the cancer multi-class cancer classification based on pan cancer mRNA dataset, there have been two works. The first, in the first and the second, they try to eliminate the less explored cancer types, like the cancer types who try to affect the precision of the accuracy. They eliminated from their training, so they worked only on 29 or 20 cancer types. So thank you for your attention.